What's up, everyone? We're starting the day off by stopping at Papa Tom's because the Corolla's been there ever since the Florida trip, and I finally got plates for that car. And we're picking it up because I missed that thing. We need another daily driver back at the shop because Tony's Jimny broke.
Damn it, he's been a sad boy.
So Tommy told me that they moved it and it's like stuck. So I'm nervous. He literally called me to tell me to make sure my expectations are low.
The thing's four-wheel drive. We'll launch it right out.
You ever been here?
I have not, actually.
Steve, you never been inside.
I've never been inside. I just
quite magical.
I just saw outside. Yeah.
So many skylines outside. Don't fucking be doing that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Jesus, like Oprah out here giving out 32s.
Is my car gonna be safe right here, or should I like park farther away?
You get a skyline. If you look under your seat today, I gave the whole crowd a skyline.
What?
You get a skyline.
Oh
you get
man, there's only disappointment under my seat.
Taking this one home. God dang.
The white one?
Yeah.
I kind of want the
Canter?
Yeah.
I could see you whipping that thing, daily driver.
I love little trucks like that.
All right, no, pull it. Why are you just parked in the middle of the parking lot?
I'm in a parking space.
This is the coolest kooky, by the way. Killed it.
Those wheels look familiar.
Yeah, just park like in there. Oh man, it really is. Oh man, there's so much stuff around it.
We launch it off.
We're not jumping the barrier. Oh, my poor girl. My poor girl.
You got a forklift, Tommy?
He does have a forklift.
I'll get it out of there.
We got Rudnick's trailer in a mound of... How are we supposed to do... Maybe we should get the forklift.
I forklifted it out of there.
All-wheel drive, right-hand drive, manual diesel Corolla. Yeah, it's a mouthful. Such a good car. I've missed this thing. Took way too long to register.
Yeah, it took a while. Let me check your feet.
Oh, there's dog doo-doo. Watch.
Several landmines.
Be careful, boys. Just watch where you walk. There's a lot of doggy doo-doo.
Redneck's pooping outside?
Does Tommy even have a dog?
Tommy hates him that much?
Ready? Oh, what a good car. I mean, it's only been like a month. Of all the cars here, this is RJ's favorite.
It's not my favorite, but I'm liking it.
Sticks out for sure.
This is an archaeologist find right here.
Dude, it's bare. How?
I know he hates this car, but he hates it that much?
This thing's beached. First time here, what do you guys think?
I think it's pretty impressive. That's an
This is a really cool setup.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Just walking in, seeing a, well, R34 GTR.
But no surprise here, really big fan of these shelves.
Yeah, they're good shelves.
These are good shelves.
Yeah, we need some big shelves like that.
Yeah, we definitely do.
He's horning out about the shelves.
Well, the first thing I was horned up about was the Porsche.
Yeah.
That's way cooler than my Porsche.
You have a
But that's my second favorite thing. Yeah,
I
two
want
O's.
Bring it over.
No problem.
I missed this car. Like, this is the coziest thing ever. Love it.
Abuelita.
Forgot it doesn't have a lot of power.
Send it.
Best car I own. I didn't realize how badly I bent the rim on this thing.
Ooh.
She needs a tune-up. I cannot wait till it's nice out. We can slam this thing. We're gonna wait for good weather on that one.
It's so cool as is though. Oh, so satisfying.
Thomas, new car? Yep, this is my new Wit. Midnight Purple. I heard a really cool guy owns this car.
Cool dude.
Cool dude.
Super cool dude.
So I'm here to grab my Corolla and to beg you to sell me a Spec R spoiler. This dude fucking, he didn't warn me before the camera came out. So we'll see if I get a car. I might get. Tommy has an extra one, but he's got plans for it.
Well, I have an extra one that could potentially be used, but it might not.
So
I have skirts, spats,
got those.
aero bumper.
Don't got the check
And
for that.
I've got,
How much is that aero bumper worth?
$6 grand.
$6 grand for a front bumper.
It's brand new though.
That is pretty cool.
But yeah, so if I don't get this potential car and get rid of mine,
The wing's all mine.
the wing's yours. What do they cost?
What was that?
What do they cost?
I don't know.
$200.
$500?
What do they cost?
Like 7.
7 to 9.
7 to 9.
But I don't care about
To
it.
a friend, 7.
I'd sell it for 5 if I don't need it. You heard it.
We got it right here.
Got it on
tape.
Got it on camera.
Thank you, Tom. Tom always hooks it up. Well, shout out to Papa Tom for letting us house the Corolla here for a little while. I'm happy to have my daily driver back. So, great day.
Great day. Stevie F, yeah.
And plus, honestly, I love coming up here because every time I go up here, there's just more and more cool stuff.
There's a lot of cool stuff here.
I just can't wait till the spring is here so we could like really take in all the cool stuff. All it does is solidify the fact that I need an R33 GTR. Look how good these things are. Come on, see, you can't tell me this isn't like the sexiest thing ever. Look at the hips. Look at this.
Hips don't lie.
Thick.
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 A lot of white ones.
A lot of white ones. A lot of white
A lot of
ones.
white Skylines.
A lot of white Skylines. They made a lot of them. A lot of white. I can get an R33 GTR in red, I would be in my glory, but that's not gonna happen. But look at this. This thing's beautiful.
The color you will get?
I don't know if they made 33s in that color, but if they did, sign me the hell up. That is absolutely beautiful.
So good.
We need to get the heck out of here, RJ, before
Yeah,
I start
I'm hungry.
taking out a mortgage or something. I did forget how monumentally slow this car is, though.
Yeah.
Like, you're not getting in trouble with this thing. Maybe in the snow.
But it was missed.
Warm toes, it's just slow. But it'll never get stuck in the snow. We learned that.
Warm toes is just slow, but it'll never get stuck in the snow. You just know.
Damn.
That just happened.
That just happened. Alright, so today I want to kill some curiosity here because as you guys know, I just got another S15. If you don't know, then you should probably go watch the last video or else you're probably really confused. But yes, got another S15 and it's not a Spec R, so it's not the turbo version. But it's just not any Spec S. This is the AUTECH version, which means that it has a spicier NA drivetrain in it, and I really, really want to see how it compares to the standard Spec S drivetrain. And luckily, I have just the tool for it.
Nice. Things you want from your tuner. Confidence. Second thing you want from your tuner. A large wang.
So if you guys forgot what made this different than the normal SR20 DE is we got bigger cams. Cool.
Sick.
It revs a little bit higher, like 300 RPM higher, which is a big deal.
Also sick.
We also have these gangster factory high flow headers, which is really cool. It might not seem that cool to some people. That's actually a really gangster piece.
Yeah, that's like not something you see on any factory car ever.
It still has a full stock exhaust though.
But still, that's dope.
And then besides that, the big one is actually has higher compression. It is 11.7 to 1 instead of typical 10 to 1, which is quite high for a production like road vehicle. So I'm really excited to see what this thing makes and how it compares to like a typical SR20 DE, since we dynoed the Zenki before we turboed it, and it should be very, very, very similar to the S15 motors.
Interesting.
Interesting. So
Is
we're gonna
all this tech gonna make the difference?
all this tech?
All this tech?
So bad.
Yo, why is it so cold right here?
You're under the
You-
fan.
Uh,
All right, so I found the baseline from the Zenki, and it made 140 horsepower.
I'd be impressed with anything over 160, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean 21 horsepower on pump gas too.
Yeah.
So hopefully it has good gas in it. I hope the previous owner put 93 in it. I'd only assume so. So we're gonna find out. You know what it is? It's the red valve cover.
The red valve cover is what's doing it?
That's what's it.
That's it.
That's a lot of smoke.
That was a lot of smoke.
What color? It wasn't. That might just be condensation in the exhaust because it's been idling so much and doing nothing else but idling.
I hope so, because that was thick.
What?
There's a puddle behind the exhaust.
Of water, right?
Is it? Let me
Yeah.
see. Dirty water.
Is it? Yeah. So what happens if you let a car just like do nothing but idle? It builds a lot of condensation in the exhaust, and when you actually start to put some flow through it, it starts to spit it out. Okay, so there is an issue though because we only made 118 horsepower. So it wasn't hyped. Something is not stoked.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Something smells a little funny.
Yeah, that smells a little funny. I wonder if the cat's clogged.
Ah.
Kind of smells like it, doesn't it?
It's got a hairball.
I think the cat might
Something
be
does
clogged.
reek.
Holy shit.
Smells like
Rotten egg.
rotten eggs. Oh, well, the cat's gotta be clogged. There's no freaking way. There's no way. That smells so gross. As you guys saw, it was missing a bunch of power. It was a little choked up by this smell, by this crazy odor that we're smelling right now. We could kind of determine the fact that the catalytic converter is actually clogged, which means the exhaust is heavily restricted, so it can't make the power. So we're gonna let this thing cool down. We're gonna take the cat off. I wonder if the previous owner even noticed or if he just thought the car was slow.
He definitely noticed.
The Case of the Missing 80 Horsepower, a children's book from the Oaks Garage.
So the internals of this are probably so clogged. Can you see through it? Light test. You should be able to see the light. Nope. She's clogged. So if you're in a pinch, usually you can kind of like stab all this stuff out and it'll just kind of hollow it out. But we have an ISR test pipe that I stole from Donnie, so it's basically just like a direct replacement for the cat itself. So we're gonna throw this in and hopefully we are good to go because it is missing quite a bit of power. How's it look?
It's all bolted up.
Looks like it fits pretty damn good.
It actually does. I think it fits an factory exhaust way better.
Makes sense. All right, let's see how it sounds. See how much louder this thing is. Okay, at idle, still quiet.
Very quiet. I mean, it should be louder.
We'll find out.
It had a clogged cat.
Oh yeah! Now it has the typical 4-cylinder NA rasp. Still lacking power. I did it in 5th gear because 5th gear is supposed to be 1-to-1 in this trans, but we're actually hitting the speed limiter.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're actually it's only revving up to like 6,500. I'm gonna do it in 4th. It's not far off, so it shouldn't really make too much of a deal. So let's set this up for 4th gear.
Enough of that.
Yeah.
Ugh. It's still missing power. Still lacking, you know, quite a bit in the mid-range, and
This is the line we're looking at right here.
and it peaks up at the ends, and it kind of makes me think that the VTC might, but I doubt it. I don't know. Let's shoot base timing just to make sure that's set up right, because no one ever does, and then go from there.
How are we looking, James?
It seems to be set to factory timing. Interesting. That thing sucks. That can't be restricting that much, but we're gonna find out.
All right, a little more.
Oh.
Did it just die?
Yeah, just all. It's probably used to the pressure. Wow, that made a lot more power. It was that clogged. Holy shit.
Wow.
All right, let's see the difference. Dude, look at the difference, right? So obviously the bigger one is the last pull versus the previous. Look how choked up that was just from that air filter.
All right, so I'm thinking one other thing now.
What's up?
Skunked fuel. It is low on fuel.
It is. So I want to put better gas in there now because it might just have shit 87 in it. So,
Yeah.
But this was nice about having a dyno. Like, you wouldn't really probably notice this. I mean, you probably, your ass would probably notice this, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's making, we're about 20 more horsepower than a standard DE engine. So I'm already like ecstatic.
Yep.
20 horsepower NA is a lot.
Yep.
Takes a lot to get that. So
Did you hear that thing?
Oh, it sounded happy that
Yeah.
time, right? Yeah. So that's pretty good. So let's get some good gas in here and see what it does for us. Pull with good gas. If it doesn't do much, then we can crank up some ignition timing. All right, so you have to remember, it is 11.7 to 1 compression. That's high compression, which leaves it very sensitive to pump gas. If it has bad pump gas in it, it's not gonna run well. So hopefully getting some better gas in there will hopefully do the trick.
What was that?
Kind of sounds better.
I don't want it to be a placebo effect, but it definitely does.
It definitely does. Like it's running smoother.
It made 160 and 130, and it made a beautiful graph. Like the graph you'd expect to see from a nice running 4-cylinder NA setup. Look at this. Compared to the previous one, which is all over like this one, it's all over the place, right?
Yeah.
So this is
Look at
this
that.
is the type of graph we want to see. We just want to see it overall more.
All right.
VTC was still unplugged, so that would explain why the
Torque was so
torque
low.
dipped a little bit and it went back up. Okay. If you guys don't know what VTC is basically the cam timing on the ignition cam, right? So we have this little actuator right here that will actually swing the timing on the cam gear to basically optimize engine performance at certain RPMs.
That's right.
Broad way of saying it.
Yeah. See what happens.
I mean, it sounds rowdy. Okay. All right. So it made the same peak horsepower, but look how much more made all in the mid-range. And this is why VTC is so freaking awesome. Look at it. Look how much more torque it made down low. Why VTC kicks ass. All our S13 SRs suck.
They're still good.
This last curve right here, that looks good. Looks like a very nice, healthy curve, but I feel like we could, technically we wanted to, we could play with the overall ignition timing by a little bit. Should we put a degree or two in it to see what happens?
We could.
We could. So,
Advance it.
I mean, 161 is still good compared to the 140, but let's throw a degree at it and see what happens. All right, so we're gonna mark where our distributor is at right now, just in case. Changing the overall ignition timing by just rotating the distributor. Classic move. The engine's already 11.5 to 1, right? So it's already very prone to knocking. So you really don't want to put any more timing into it, but we'll see what happens. I kind of want to try to do a pull with a little bit less timing in it first.
Yep.
And then go for more timing. Before it was at about 17 degrees, I'm gonna bring it down to about 14. So we might lose a bunch of power or it might help. We're gonna find out.
What if it doesn't change at all?
Then we leave it. That's a whole, we could have a whole video talking about that. I mean, we're gonna put it. So this is very little timing for an SR, but you know what? We're on the dyno, might as well make use of the time, right? 155. So
Awesome.
that's kind of what we'd expect to lose.
Yep.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
So, because we took timing out, if we put some in now.
We could potentially make more. There's a point where you stop making power due to advancing timing, right? Usually before you get to that point, the engine will actually start to knock. So you got to find that sweet spot of you're making as much power due to ignition timing as possible without it actually knocking or pre-detonating, right? So as you can tell, we lost power almost all over the place, right? That's to be expected. We took out about 3 degrees overall. Let's go back to where we were and add 2 degrees and see if it makes any more power. If it doesn't make much more, you take it back out. If it makes
That's it.
a decent amount more, you make the call.
You make the call of what? More?
You make the call is if you want to push your luck, right? If you want to push the luck on pre-detonation or making more power. That's the thing. A big part of tuning is just knowing when to call it quits.
Let's keep going.
So now I'm 2 degrees advanced of where we initially started.
See how it affects it.
Let's see how it affects it. 160. 160. All right, so check this out, right? Still made the same peak power, but as you can notice, we actually gained a little bit more power overall up top, which is, you know, technically to be expected by advancing the ignition timing. We gained about 3 horsepower overall. Now this is the point where you ask yourself, is that 3 horsepower, 3-4 horsepower overall worth increasing your odds of knocking or pre-detonating, right? Since we're so close, and it was about 2 degrees, 3 degrees more, I'm gonna pull it back. We're gonna go back to where we were. You could tell that where it originally was is the happy medium of the 2, right?
Yep.
So we had to try it, but it looks like this thing just wants to make 160. All right, so now looking at the results, it's actually pretty cool. I'm really excited about it. So we made 161 horsepower, right, which makes sense because it was saying 197 to 200 horsepower to the crank, 20%, 160, it all makes sense,
makes
right?
sense now.
So it seems to be making the power that it's supposed to. So it's making 20 horsepower more than the standard DE engine, which is extremely impressive for a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, especially of this era and mech, right?
Yes.
This car, yes.
Look at
yes.
that. SR20?
What makes it even cooler isn't the peak horsepower number, it's the graph. Like, check this thing out, right? So we have the standard DE graph right here, and then we have the AUTECH graph above it. As you can see, it makes 20 horse basically everywhere, not just in one area, but like all over the curve. And so you feel that throughout the entire pull. I mean, it even makes a lot more torque down low, which is pretty impressive, right? But the coolest part about it is the power at the top, right? Because before, With the standard DE, it just kind of falls off, right? Stock motors just being restricted, the cams probably suck, and it's just kind of falling off. The AUTECH, it just keeps climbing. Like the powered band just keeps going. It's breathing. It's breathing. It's only 160 horsepower, but it's probably very exciting to drive. I think the difference is fantastic, and I'm very impressed. I'm super hyped about it. So I don't know if anyone has these two dyno graphs back to back online right now, but here, square this up so the boys can get a really good look at it. But there it is. Standard DE versus AUTECH. I'll take the AUTECH any day. All right, so it might only be 160 horsepower, but it should be a blast to drive, and just the combination of it alone is just super cool, and I'm super pumped for it. So I don't think I've ever been so excited to have just like a NA engine like this. But I say that as I'm building a NA K-Series, but it's different, right? So, man, this car is freaking cool. So, but I'll just ramble on if I keep talking. But today was cool. I'm really, really liking this car. We gave it a good shakedown today. I'm very happy we were able to do that. We did back-to-back pulls. The car loves it. Sounds healthy. It feels great, and feeling even more stoked on the purchase. So, but I should have the paperwork to drive this on the road tomorrow, which is super exciting, and finally feel what an AUTECH S15 actually feels like on the road. But for now, we're gonna end it, so you guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more content. And Tony,
Have a good night.